And we are three jerks talking about things. This is called Glow Big or Glow Home. If this is the first time you are tuning in, get ready for a really exciting night because we've got Leandro from Castle Pines all the way out. And he's here going to be talking to us about all kinds of just things that he's going through and ways that he gets through them. And this is number 3. This is podcast number 3.
00003.
Yeah.
That's a lot of zeros.
Yeah, it's setting a precedent.
That is. That's like 4 zeros. You have to make at least 1,000 of these.
Yeah. I feel
Should
like
be
that.
easy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, just knock them out.
There's always stuff to talk about. Always.
Never runs out.
Yeah, exactly.
Under the sun.
So what's going on with you, man?
Not much. Just drove down from Portland.
And why is
yeah,
Portland?
what are you doing up there?
Yeah, why is Portland important?
Just moved up to Portland about a week ago, last Sunday,
That's huge.
with the fiance. So played the last show with
Nice.
Castle Pines.
Boom.
We have the last album coming up. Matt's
Forever?
not forever, but I mean for the time being.
Yeah, I
As
understand that.
long as the health issues with Sterling get better, maybe we'll play a reunion show. It means you
Nice.
guys have to come up to Portland, the Pacific Northwest, to come visit us.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, we're going to be there a lot this year.
Yeah, exactly. Like our goal is almost to like leave an RV there too, so we could just always go back.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just leave it in front of my parents' house.
And then yeah, we could Airbnb
Nice.
that too. But so, okay, so then what prompted this move? Like, I mean, what's going on? You had a really thriving band that was killing it in Norco. What changed? What happened?
There's a bunch of different issues. The main thing was our drummer has Crohn's disease, so he
Boom.
he almost died like 3 times in the hospital this year, back in summertime.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crohn's is a really terrible stomach.
Inflammatory of the lower intestine issue. It could go up all the way. It's a digestive issue, but
Jesus.
yeah. So he'd been struggling with it since he was like 17 years old, basically. But he had his first flare up last year, and we didn't think anything of it. And plug the medicinal marijuana
Yeah.
because he went into remission for a really long time because we used to smoke a bunch of pot together,
Yeah.
Nice.
and he never had a Crohn's flare up. Lo and behold, he gets a job where they drug test, so he stops smoking pot. And his Crohn's disease flares up again. So
Wow.
I think
so wild,
it's tied
dude.
together.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it too. There's a lot of things pissing off the modern human stomach in the United States. That's for sure.
Indubitably.
Yeah, and then it's terrible that organic medicine is as hard as it is to get. You know, it's a pretty big shame. My dad went through lymphoma over the last course of like 7 years. He's been in remission now for 2 years. But yeah, so you know, it's for a long time too. It's crazy how people still really look down on it and things like that. You know, it wasn't as easy for him to transition into medical usage as I feel like it should have been. You know?
I hope the stigma behind it, there's like a really thick stigma that's only existed for like 100 years, like 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
Since like the Anslinger drug war years. Like,
yeah.
And it was just because like the main issue was because it was racism. It was basically like they didn't want Mexicans and blacks smoking reefer, the jazz crowd smoking reefer.
Yeah, it's so wild, dude.
So they were like, "Oh, let's ban it."
Not to mention competition with alcohol.
With alcohol.
Yeah.
They were lobbying the government, basically saying, "Get rid of this like free drug that you can grow out of the ground, so that we can like poison people with."
Yeah.
And now you turn on the TV, you look at this like Super Bowl ads. It's like multi-billion-dollar advertising agencies for like. There's more alcohol deaths. It's like right up there with like tobacco and like heart disease.
Yeah, I mean,
Crazy.
it's crazy that there's natural receptors for THC in the body,
Mhm.
you know, which is super clear about evolutionary like connection to it. But then you look at the way alcohol is the opposite of a receptive drug for our body. Our body actually is rejecting it
Yeah.
at the fullest to the point where it just our liver dies a little bit every time we drink. You know, it's wild. Yeah, and it's pretty incredible. But I guess this is a good place to kind of shoot. I love the way we do the show. It's just kind of we just talk and talk until something is like, ha!
Here
And
we
that's
go.
where we can go right now is
Hey.
it's incredible that those old folklore and weird just, you know, what would you call them? You know, like imprints, social imprints and stuff are going away because of how wonderful the internet is. You know, like the internet is out of control and people can't really lie anymore.
Let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah,
Thank you,
oh,
FCC,
yeah.
3 days ago.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll see. It's really interesting. My dad is in the tech industry, has been his whole life, huge proponent of the tech industry, and in a lot of ways, like connected to the very beginning of it and such. And he is totally for it. No, the FCC.
The FCC's getting rid of net neutrality.
Yeah. He thinks that.
See, I've heard both sides of it.
Yeah, he thinks it's going to spark wonderful competition, like Matt and I were talking about this the other day. And the way the internet works right now is it exists on these old pipelines of fiber optics that, a couple companies laid a lot of money into.
All the.
Yeah, and in a way, I understand that those companies want to get paid fairly for the usage of their roads because, in a sense, it's like a toll road. They spent their own money to build it. It wasn't a lot of government money. It was a lot of private investors. But so the way it is right now, those 3 or 4 companies fucking own everything, right? And then if something, and this is again, like I'm not an expert on this, totally paraphrasing, but basically the positive of this change is that
opens up for competition. Smaller companies can start their own ISPs.
And a lot of them aren't going to lay pipeline anymore. And this is another thing we were talking about that I didn't know, but now it's getting powerful enough to where they don't need to lay the fiber optics anymore. They could do it all over Wi-Fi. Exactly. So then
so they're probably fearful that they laid all this pipeline, you don't need it anymore, and now they're just trying to like hold on to their claim. They did so much work to get us to where we're at now.
Yeah.
But,
well, the threshold of getting into tech has been like pretty much like equalized for everyone. Like everyone can get into tech now. Like,
and my huge fear is that for us as independent artists, like what happens if our advertisements aren't showing up, our marketing isn't showing up? Right now, to me, it's one of the most beautiful times in the existence of humanity,
creation,
because it's leveled the playing field. If you're an artist and you're incredible, then your music will get heard as long as you consistently put it out there.
Yeah.
There's an audience for everything. You can find your demographic.
So,
your niche.
The hope is that if it's not if it happened, the FCC, it's done.
It's passed.
Yeah. So unless
it's repealed.
Yeah, unless there's a really big appeal, and then unless the Congress really goes against them. But the hope is that it creates this kind of competition where if the internet turns into this place where independent artists and certain content can't get through on those old pipelines, the hope is now that there is no more net neutrality. That these other companies might now all of a sudden come out of nowhere and it's all a gamble. It's like the old companies just playing the gamble. Like, is everyone going to just take the shaft or are they going to jump ship? And they're betting on everyone just taking the dick. You know what I'm saying? And just dealing with like all of a sudden rates going up and things being censored and shit. But what if everyone's just like, fuck you?
Yeah.
There's
it's really hard to go backwards. Like it's been done a certain way for a long time. People, especially like the millennial generation, I mean, it's really easy to feel like if it's been that way forever, you can't go and change it now at this point. And
totally.
Well,
that's where American ingenuity is, though. Like
a lot of customers.
The good ideas come out of like, okay, we're faced with a problem or dilemma. How do we get around it? How do we bypass like this obstacle so that we can still, get our content, get our art out?
It's pretty incredible how hard some people hold on to
the old ways.
Yeah. It's really wild. But I understand, like we were saying, they have a lot of money and a lot of stuff and energy invested in this old system, and I don't know. We'll see how I'm not an expert at all on net neutrality, so I don't understand what's going on. Like, my brother's kind of a nutcase and in a good way, but he's really intense, and he was telling me that basically, because my whole thing is like thinking, well, I'm already paying $80 a month for like unlimited. And then there's the dude who only checks his email and he pays like $25 a month for like 1 or 2 gigs or something, right? So it's already like fairly distributed. But what my brother was saying is that it's not like they're all of a sudden going to start tacking on this like $50 streaming thing.
It'll slowly happen over time.
Well, and what he was saying is that he's convinced it's not even going to happen like that. He's convinced my bill is going to stay the same, but that Netflix is going to have to start kicking down a portion
because they're taking up so much of that
bandwidth. Yeah, so they're going to have to start.
They're going to be like, okay, we were going to charge you another $4.99 to use our app or something like that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if Netflix was $13.99 instead of $9.99, I'm sure people would still going to pay it. But if your phone bill was all of a sudden like $50 more and you could only access certain sites, people wouldn't be down with that. So I hope that those companies aren't dumb enough to do something like that.
Yeah, and as soon as it affects free press too,
I'm sure their PR department and their HR department is like thought of all these things.
Yeah,
they're huge. They're the biggest corporations in the world.
Yeah,
I mean that's where like the commodity beyond water and like what we need to live is like it's information now, you know. And
Yeah,
that's what's gonna like basically what fuels our commerce today.
yeah.
So they're gonna figure. I mean, and even the general population, they're gonna figure a way to like supersede, you know, whatever
Totally.
obstacles come.
Yeah, new innovations will happen, you know. If the old companies are dicks, then new smart people will start Kickstarters for fucking some main hub that just produces internet for everybody for free or some shit. You know, this kind of stuff is going to hopefully be happening. I feel like, especially to the internet, the wilder and more intricate and the more webbed up we all get with each other, I just feel like more people are going to do philanthropic things. More people are going to do good things. I just feel like when you've got this check of the community, that's the feeling. When you're isolated, it's easy to be like just a crazy businessman. And like just be like for me and my family.
But when
you know?
open up the forum, well, look at social media, like all these initiatives that have passed for like websites like Kickstarter or GoFundMe.
Yeah.
For, you know, my brother got hit by a car. Can you help with his hospital bills?
Yeah.
Just raised $20,000. So yeah, the philanthropic spirit of like helping people out. I think that's another good positive thing about the internet community. And why is this whole net neutrality thing kind of like blew up and everybody's like talking about it? These are issues that were, you know, backdoor deals back 15, 20 years ago. Nowadays we have this. It's pretty much the greatest human invention ever. It like cybertronically connects our brains.
Yeah, and it's just evolving like crazy. Man, yeah, I feel like the companies who weren't smart enough to like think about unlimited internet in the beginning, they're paying for it and fuck them, you know? Like you weren't smart enough to think that this thing's gonna get huge, you know?
It's like when Blockbuster first started Netflix, they're like,
yeah, people get stuck in their old ways, man. That's where I feel like we're at, man, especially with bands, Matt. We were talking about this yesterday on the podcast, and it was like, it surprises me. Like, so are you resistant to the internet and social media and personal marketing in that sense?
Oh, not at all. No, I think that, like,
especially like for your band.
No, I think that's like the way that we used to push bands back, you know, when we were in high school and junior high was like, oh, make a mixtape or make a flyer. It was all handmade stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. You're making handmade content things, but it's on the digital realm and you're sharing it with people. Not everyone's going to like it. 99% of people don't like it, but it's that 1% that, you know, that you're aiming your art towards, you know, after the fact that you make your own music for yourself. You're doing it as like a way to communicate with everyone, and what better way to communicate than the internet?
Yeah, hell yeah.
I think like I had this conversation with Greg Hill that today when I was driving down here, that there comes a point in your life as far as like any kind of integrity that you have with your art, you got to learn. And I hate using the word exploit because, but you need to learn how to exploit your talents in order to continue doing them.
Yeah.
Like if you're passionate about your art, you're going to figure out a way. It's sink or swim. It's either you're going to figure out a way how to monetize and, you know, use your talents in order to reach a wider audience and then continue doing it, because that in turn, it's like you're watering the plant so they can grow, so that they can feed you eventually.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean,
and sometimes there's a negative stigma with that, but
anybody who is negative has that negative stigma is not fulfilling their own dream.
No,
you know, that's projecting that on.
It's still
other
a hobby.
People.
It's no longer. That's the difference between a passion and a hobby. A passion is something you're willing to suffer for, even if like it means that you're, you know, thrift shopping and then reselling on eBay just so that you can, you know, make music. Whatever your hustle is, whatever you need to do in order to continue to do that. That's the passion is basically in Greek. It means like what you suffer, what you love so much that you're willing to suffer for.
Yeah.
And if in the age of digital media and in the age of being a musician and an artist nowadays, it's like, why not utilize like the most important tool that if you would have told Picasso or you would have told Michelangelo about the internet, and he'd been like, yeah, heck yeah, sign me up. Or like Beethoven.
Oh my God. I mean, the reach, like you were talking about 1%, right? Like 99% of people, it's not even that they don't care or that they don't like it. They just, it's, you know, there's so much and
so
and
saturated.
People, and so
they're
but
not
that
even looking to fulfill a portion of their mind with something like that.
Yeah, well, but the great thing is now, like, so 1% in the old playing field was like 1% of 500 people in your hometown or something. Now it's 1% of
the world.
The world.
6 billion, you know, so,
Billions
and like
of
3 billion people have access to internet.
So if only 1 out of every 100 people actually likes your band,
3 million people, 300 million people.
Your market is still incredibly huge.
Yeah, so I think that so and then getting back to the point is this: it blows my mind that some bands are resistant to social media, and then how like the hell are bands not using the fact that they have a band, that they have like 3 or 4 people on a team, basically, like to not to move ahead in that field. You know, it's pretty wild. Like, do your bandmates did they get in on the social media with you, or are they kind of afraid of it?
For the most, when we were like as far as doing the most as like playing shows and releasing content, everybody kind of had their part. I always took the lead as far as like the publishing and the publicist.
Yeah.
But I always told them a band is one letter away from brand. Like your band is your brand, and it's regardless if it's a made up image, if you want to be like Kiss or you want to have this like weird backstory, or if like for us, we actually had a real story of like behind of like how we got together.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Oh, so Castle.
How'd you get your band name, and like
Castle
what was
Pines
the concept?
is the street that we all grew up on. We all met. We all started playing music. So we were like terrible at deciding band names, and so Sterling, the drummer, I co-founded the band with him. Hi Sterling, if you're watching.
We love you.
We love you, man. Hope you're doing well. He was like, "Yeah, just name it Castle Pines," because he was in a death metal band with my brother at the time, and I met Jesse there, and.
Yeah. Your brother is such an insane guitar player.
Nikki, you're really good at guitar.
Yeah. I feel like he's good at anything he does. Like he's has this really weird hobby.
He's tactile.
He has this hobby where he goes out and finds and catches snakes.
Mm-hmm. Nice. He just got into photography. He's like if you tell him to do something, and I think this is like majority of like most like artistic or like left brain using people. If you tell them to do something, they won't do it, but they have to discover it on their own, and then they do all the research. So like a lot of like the, pioneers in like tech or like creativity or music, they did terribly in school, but then they went to go found these like huge companies and ideas and like the Steve Jobs of the world and stuff.
Yeah,
like
totally. I mean, that's one thing that blows my mind too, that the school system's just never changed, man. Like, what an old, stupid system of like just sticking kids like in certain.
And it's really
slots,
interesting that there was never a class that taught you how to teach yourself. Mm-hmm. Like,
do it on your own.
Where you were just forced to learn like 3 things.
Read the manual and then take the test, and then you never have to do that test ever again.
There's nothing on the line with American education. It's just like it's kind of like, just push them through. It's like something you have to do. There's no excitement behind it. And the American school system is like, okay, just get it done, and like then it never gives you the idea of like self-actualization or like realization who. Like what it is you like, who you are.
Or even practical skills, how to pay your taxes.
Yeah, nothing. Terrible, terrible system, man. God damn. And then it makes kids that are fucking brilliant feel like idiots.
Yeah.
Because they're getting Fs, and it's like this grading system. They feel like they're failing it, and it's like we like this dude Gary Vee. We think he's great. And the dude got like Fs his whole life, fucking terrible in school. Absolutely terrible. And the guy's like, runs like a 600 employee company.
Yeah,
it's like it's fucking.
There's
intense.
I forget who said it. I don't know. The tacked on is always like Einstein. Einstein said this, like the quotes, but like if you grade a fish on how well he can climb a tree, that's not really like saying anything about his ability.
Yeah,
exactly. It's the same way as the American school system is like you're putting everyone into this like, okay, you have to function at this level, and it's not necessarily like own personal growth. It's like you have to meet this right here. It's a quota, and it's like, and I don't want to get into like the semantics of it. Oh, it's like based off of capitalism and all that, but like in a certain sense, it's like you can't run schools like a business. You have to like nurture what kids are into.
Yeah,
and I think this like beyond the millennial generation, but the new generation that's coming up, they have the fucking internet, so.
Yeah,
they can teach
so
themselves.
Much easier.
You go on YouTube. There's a lady that learned how to build a house in like Vermont. Like she had land and she had supplies. She went on YouTube and she built a fucking house.
That's incredible.
Yeah, like a 14-part tutorial. It's like step 1,
laying the foundation.
Yeah, exactly. Watching the step 1 for like 2 weeks. Man, yeah, the internet is wild and it's wonderful. I mean, I use it constantly all the time, to learn the most random shit. I mean, so I always talk to like we are people who are pointed in a direction, and I would call that like we're aiming for a career, we're on our way to it, and then there's other people who like work a job. I was watching this Chris Rock thing last night. It was cracking me up too, and he was just talking about having a job versus having a career, and a lot of times people that have jobs are not stoked because they're not doing what they want to be doing,
Yeah.
But most of them, if you ask, well, what would you rather be doing? They really don't know that answer either, right?
Yeah.
And I always say, like, what you should do is stop putting pressure on yourself, and for the next 6 months, just spend 1 hour a day just thinking about what you want to do. Like, don't try and guess or try and just think, well, that's what they're doing, so I got to do that too. And it's amazing they don't do that for kids. Like, the whole first year of high school should just be like once you're cognitive enough to be like, okay, I get it. I'm here, and I'm now beginning my aim towards like a college or a work situation.
And
or
instead of
something.
like a standardized test, like let's figure out what your strong suits
Who are you?
Yeah.
What are you good at? You may be terrible at math, but you're really good at literature.
And what are you actually passionate about?
Yeah, what do you enjoy doing?
Yeah, and I'm sure, I mean, obviously kids are still going to resist, but, there's got to be like 5 or 6, job archetypes, that exist or something like that. I mean, I'm just totally guessing, but like, do you like mechanical? Like, do you like things that are moving, and do you like putting things
together?
together?
Do you like problem solving?
Do you like laying pipe?
Are you a self-starter?
Yeah, exactly.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when you could find the porn stars in the class too. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like the people really
Where there's
touch
a
and
need.
feel, there's nothing wrong. It's like there's nothing wrong with sex workers, man. They're doing a good justice for this world.
Yeah, if they enjoy it.
Yeah, I beat off a lot.
Yeah.
It's like I got endless amounts of shit to watch. It's great. Talk about people on their content game.
Talking about content,
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
like we need to step it up. That's why you put so many zeros in front of this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's so, and then just jumping into another thing. So this is what I really been loving too, just the idea and the challenge of daily content creation. Like hitting upload somewhere, somehow on some medium of a piece of content I really, really appreciate and enjoy.
Yeah.
That has been awesome and inspiring and something I've never been able to do. Like, are you a good person when it comes to persistence and consistency and things like that?
I think it goes back to what you were saying about just taking an hour every day and thinking about, like, I think every day has a what's up, puppy? Like, you should have a focus or like a drive. Like, what's my goal today? What's it going to be? And that feeds into the content thing. Is like, what do I want to accomplish today? You know?
Yeah.
What's up, William Morris?
William Morris.
Yeah, dude, he is in the game of esports right now, which is about to be the future of
Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
awesome.
my
Congrats
parents.
on your new job, dude.
Think about it, dude. We're getting towards like those big robot movies where like the kids in the thing and
Or
there's
like
a
Tron.
huge robot
Yeah.
like smashing each other like
Oh,
5
I
stories
can't wait.
high.
Yeah.
That's gonna be happening soon.
There's gonna be a lot of weed there.
As much as we try, it's funny that we still can't get over like the Roman like game side of us. Gladiator.
No. Yeah.
We're animals, man.
Yeah, look at football. Like it's basically gladiatorial, the same thing.
Hey,
Yeah.
and they are the same as sex workers.
Yeah, exactly the
You
same.
know?
Yeah.
They're straight up selling their bodies for other people's pleasure.
Well, you look at what can a like not famous superstar football player like when he turns 40, 50 years old and he
what can you
can't
do?
do
Yeah,
anything,
exactly,
can't even walk.
Yeah.
Their brains are falling apart. Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. Well, so you just said something that was really cool. You were saying that every day, like, and so this podcast more, I mean, it's about just whatever the fuck we're talking about, but poignant and pointed towards trying to be about how the hell great artists like yourself went from a situation where, you weren't doing what you wanted to do and now you're doing more of what you wanted to do, And so you're talking about every day in your life, at least, has like some kind of goal that is, attached, even if very loosely, to this faraway end goal, maybe. And so it's great that goal could always just become a piece of content. The whole goal, the day.
The process is what like you when you stand on top of a mountain, you're like, oh, this is a beautiful view, but you're more attuned to the fact that you had to struggle to actually get to the top of it. And
lately we've been obsessed with just documenting the process. Like it took a long time for us to figure out that the coolest thing that we're doing is the story that we're not showing anyone.
Yeah. That's why there's shows like Behind the Music on VH1 where people want to hear why the Beatles wrote that the way they wrote in Abbey Road. People don't like. They want to know the ingredients of what made that fucking delicious cake. They don't they enjoy the cake. That's awesome, but they want to know like what makes it tick. And I think that's important because like we're saturated and bombarded with so much content and media that the integrity of it is within the process itself. And like
you can't really fake it.
No,
anymore.
you can't. And I think that
you can fake it if you don't let anyone in on the middle. Like if
if
you're just making content that's super shiny and you put on a face or a feel or like the story is tailored in a certain way, it's easier to get away with that for longer, right? Because no one's seen behind the scenes. But like with us, for instance, everybody is with us every day in our grime. So we're
It's the struggle, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it pays through to like who we really are when it comes out, when the art comes out or when the content comes out.
I think it's more relatable that way too. It's like you can draw, you can be like, oh well, I'm just like that guy, or like, you know, the normal run of the mill blue collar, like I got to clock in my hours. Like there's a huge ability to like empathize with like someone that struggles like that, and I think it's always been that way. Not always. I mean, there used to be patronage for like arts and music and stuff, but now we're at the point where like the amount of work that you put in doesn't necessarily reflect success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm an interesting person to talk to that about, because
To the world standards, though, like success could be measured like in your own, and you know, like your own vision or your own what you consider success. Like in retrospect, like if you could look back in 30, 40 years, even if nothing comes of it, you can be like, you know what? Like I built something. I did something that no one else has. It's like looking back, it's like a legacy that you live behind,
Yeah.
you know?
And well, so I guess, but then what I was gonna say about that, I think that they're where we are right now, even though it seems like maybe artists are getting less for more work.
Mhm.
I feel like it's just such new territory that not a lot of people have figured out
How to navigate it.
and
Mhm.
how to make money. But
Yeah.
I think there are unreal amounts of opportunities.
There's an infinitesimal amount of way to
yeah, like,
monetize
You
and
look at
continue.
game players on Twitch and things
Mhm.
like that. You know, like my stepbrother's an incredible gamer, and he has a Twitch account that he makes enough to like invest in his gaming equipment every month and get better and better. And
And that's a small
this-
facet of that whole industry that you can.
yeah, exactly. And there's enough, and there's like just so much gold in the pot for everybody. Like I feel and somehow we got to figure out how to do this and how to document it. But I feel like any artist that I think you got to hit a certain threshold. You got to like be swimming in the pool. Like you've really got to care about the songs you're writing. Like all of this maybe exists post the fact that you've been grinding for fucking 5 or 6 years at least, writing tunes like a badass and getting good criticism, playing shows and getting better. So you just made a record and it's fucking rad. And you can hand it to a lot of people and they'd be like, yeah, it's a pretty fucking rad record. It doesn't have to be the best. But I feel like if any band that had even the smallest amount of charisma with that record and 1 year of posting every day or making content every fucking day, and the whole band killing all the platforms, like making it
And
their
reverse
job.
engineering it, seeing what works the best,
Yeah.
and doing more of that, and just like really
Yeah, but just
hard.
paying attention to the analytics over the course of the year. I feel like any band that did that would be killing it. Like would be
Make a career, yeah.
Yeah, would be all of them would not be working day jobs. All of them would be getting paid, because at this point, like, and I'm saying, don't even look for a record deal. Like, do the whole thing yourself.
Don't get a record deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't do it.
And so the whole band's making all the cash together, and like none of them are working day jobs, and they're touring.
You're building your business, and that's one aspect of like I find there's a huge lack of. It's like it's so easy to put your music out there, but people don't know how to like keep its like integrity and keep it like it's yours. It's like Creative Commons. It's like intellectual property. Like figure out a way to like exploit that, and that's just basic economics. Like
Totally.
how do you use that to you know fuel more, like your best work could be 20 years down the line, but if you didn't put the initial like hard grunt work in, then you'll never get there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, bands treating their music with a bit more respect as from a business standpoint would, I think, change the way music industry works.
Yeah.
It is weird that like I pay attention now to a lot of these creators on like YouTube and on things like Twitch and Snapchat and things like that. People who are being super creative with mediums that are relatively new. I pay attention to a lot of them, and it's incredible that they're, and this is going to come out so terrible. And to all YouTube creators, if any of you guys are listening, you guys are fucking rad. And and your guys' creation is out of control, and your innovation is out of control.
It's inspirational.
Yeah, but
Thank you.
So, but what I'm about to say may offend some people in the sense that
we're gonna take your shit and run with
YouTube,
it.
I feel like especially when it comes to music, the kind of creators that are succeeding are
Cover songs.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of diehard fucking artists who like a Sarston Noyce or like a Mercer Longstreet or realistically even anyone like you or me. So it's like
Shit
I'm
that's
talking
really,
I'm not there.
really dope.
Yeah.
Well, and just has a shit ton of artistic integrity and is just like trying to create something new and original. But it's amazing that there's got to be some, but the number of them is nothing. So
Compared
why
to the
is
cover.
that? Like,
Yeah.
why the fuck is that? Why? And then it almost goes back to what we were talking about yesterday. Like 4 guys in a band. How the fuck is your 4-person team
Not able to do
just
what
failing.
one person on guitar did with a cover song of Bruno Mars.
And so it's like the whole music industry, like we're all independent artists are I think are failing in that sense. Like this year, independent artists, if you're listening to this shit, challenge, motherfucker. Let's take over content creation. You know, we have more people on our team. We're making original music. We're making original content. Let's start competing with people who are
the gear's getting
making
so
covers.
cheap.
Exactly. You know.
Yeah.
So I feel like
It's all
that's
accessible.
It blows me away.
The whole toolkit's there.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, we have this. I have a Canon camera in my lap. I was shooting some B-roll earlier, and this is an expensive camera. This is more of an investment. But also, someone in the fucking band has decent enough credit to just like get it on PayPal or something and pay $200 a month.
Yeah.
Come up with it.
Use your
Place-
phone.
It's
pick up
worth it
shows.
to never
Exactly.
have to pay someone
Exactly.
to make a music video for you guys.
Well, I
ever
mean,
again.
I have a new iPhone, and that shit is fire. I'm
Yeah.
making little movies on it. Looks great.
You can create content with anything. I mean,
exactly.
you have, like you said, you have the toolkit to do so.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason why YouTube is so like kind of favors the cover artist or the non-original content when it comes to music is because YouTube, other than like it's the first go-to when people first hear a new song, they're like, oh, I want to hear this.
Yeah.
So what do people do? They put their cover song up right when that song comes out so that they get the hits.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of change that. I mean, it's almost like dismantling how the industry works, which is it's a dying machine. It's already hit its peak.
But what I will say though is the bigger grossing and higher attention holders of YouTube are not even the cover people. The cover people are kind of further down the list.
Yeah.
The original content makers of like short film, TV show style, news style shows, these like character creators. They are characters. They're the ones that hold the attention on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like, but they're very creative with how they name their thing.
Vsauce or
Whatever it is.
50, you know.
How to fucking make $1 million in 5 seconds or whatever the fuck, you know, like whatever it is, you know.
That is highly searchable stuff.
Exactly. And so I bet you any band that we could go audit any band we know, and I bet you if you looked at their YouTube, it would just be like the name of their band and the name of their song, and it's like no one's searching for that yet, bro. You have no attention from anybody, you know. So how else can you use that title, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the creators, they spend like half the time creating, and then some of them, like the other 50%, is how they did it. Like 5 or 10, 15 like super easy tricks with a Canon camera.
Yeah, they are always offering something. So that's another thing too. I think the bands struggle doing. Is finding
just in
a way to
general.
offer.
I feel
something.
like musicians are I'll get like messages that say, "Check out my new single, please share," and it's from like a complete stranger.
Yeah,
and it's like you always got to offer someone a little something. And that makes sense. You know?
There's
Even
always
if it's just a conversation. Hi,
hello, how are you? That's the difference between like why music. It's so hard to like get it out there because music's always created inside of a community. It's always in a vacuum. Like the grunge scene, the funk scene, blues, jazz, like all those things happened because it was a bunch of different people, different cogs of a machine, all working together,
each other, and then
making each other better, and then they put it out into the world, and it like caught fire. And nowadays, it's like it's so easy to sit in your room and record on your M-Box with your microphone, and then put it out there and be like, "Why am I not famous yet?" Because you haven't built the community. You haven't built. There's nobody has any tie to it. Like and it's inconsequential. There's no fear of loss. You're just putting it out there, and it's like flub. It's like, what's the point of putting it out there if it doesn't mean anything? You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's like even goes right back to bands not giving their music the respect like they should. You know, if you any product that's ever come out in the fucking universe outside of music, you know, like Velcro or some shit, they put millions and millions of dollars into like research and testing the product on people and doing all kinds of shit, and then advertising and commercials and you know, fucking styling the package and shit. You know, I mean, like bands, like what the fuck, you know? I mean, like you can't just make a record and then just be like, here it is, we finished it yesterday, and then be like, well, no one likes it. It's like, well, dude, it's not that no one likes it. It's just no one even knows who you are.
Why am I gonna? There's a burger shop on every single corner. What's gonna make your mom and pop burger shop make me want to go eat there?
Yeah.
And the bands that
great,
do it
funny
well, like,
advertising.
you know, there's independent bands that can do it. There's independent artists that they figured out who they are, how they can market themselves,
I love that. Yeah.
and they make careers out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Self-awareness,
Yeah.
super important. Maybe it's just hard for artists because it doesn't take narcissism at all to be self-aware, but it takes like it's just being real with yourself.
You just got to reflect, man. Who are you? You know?
If you know you've got some kind of personality asset or intrinsic value in you that you know is going to connect with people, it's okay to push that.
If you look at the way Top 40 works, they exploit that to the max. They see the traits of Taylor Swift or Justin Bieber, and they're like, oh, well, she's got a temper, so let's play it up. Let's use that to our marketing advantage and advertise the shit out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like create, like, I mean, you can go fucking be Ziggy Stardust, David Bowie, like create your own fucking personas and shit.
Yeah.
But
only if that's you.
If that's you, exactly.
Yeah,
you got to figure out who you are.
And you love like all, you know, you love theatrics, and then fucking do it, you know? But yeah, if you're some person who's like super not that, and then you try and like put on makeup and lipstick and shit, and you're just gonna look like an idiot because you're not gonna be rocking it, you know, like how you should be rocking it. Yeah.
Leo, I want to get some practical tips for releasing records because I know you taught me a lot. You were doing PR for Castle Pines, and you taught me a lot about doing press releases and like how to structure them and what kind of verbiage to use. Share some of your secrets with the world.
With the world, man.
Yeah, like some little tips.
I was talking to John earlier about this too. It's like the honesty issue is also a big thing too. It's like when you blind email a blog or a radio station, like it got to the point where 3 years ago when Summer Blood came out, I was up till 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning sending out emails, hundreds of emails every single night. And I wouldn't get any responses because I just did like a boilerplate, like, oh, this is my band, check us out. It's like, how many emails do they get like that a day?
Totally.
And you got to kind of develop some sort of rapport, not only with yourself, like with the people that you're trying to get the music out to, but with yourself too. Like, who are you? What's your visions? Like,
well, what's the narrative?
What's the narrative? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I sat down and I was like, what's the biography of this band? What do we mean? What do we stand for? And then like from there, it's like a little by little thing. Like you don't start off like just going out and publishing like right away. We didn't even go out to start off to be a band. We just had like a live recording. We're like, oh, this is cool. Let's build off it. Went on SoundCloud. A couple years later, then we recorded an album. Then we put it on Spotify. And then we recorded an album with you. And then it just grows from there. So it's like it's very organic. But as far as like press releases and stuff, like everything is online now. It used to be old school where you had a one sheet. You had a picture of the band. Your one sheet is your social media presence.
Yeah.
Like,
are you sending PDF like one sheets like an actual press release?
I used to do that when I was trying to get label coverage, and I figured out, I was like, none of these labels, like our music doesn't, like, kind of fits in other genres, but we can't really like market it in a commercial way that a major label will pick it up. So I was like, I'm just gonna start my own label. So I just kind of treated it like that. So treat it like it's like an extension of yourself and your business. Know your product, and then also be able to, like, if someone were to ask you, like, what's your band about? We're dystopian suburban kids that got left through the cracks. That's it. That's what Castle Pines is.
Yeah.
If you can't say that about your band in one sentence, then you figure out who you are and what your market is and what you're trying to like push onto people. You know.
Yeah.
And you don't need to push it onto people. It'll just like organically grow itself.
That's enough to spark interest and want to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, don't attach things.
Don't attach things. Yeah.
People's
a lot of memory.
Inboxes fill up, and so
that's the good thing about a one sheet. If you have you have your Spotify, you have your Apple, you have your Tidal account, you have your SoundCloud account, you have your Bandcamp, get the link, get the hyperlink, put it on a one sheet. A one sheet is basically like one paragraph of who the members of the band are, where you guys are from, what kind of music you play, who you sound like, what you guys are about, and then here's all the links to all our social media. You want to listen to our music, click here. Don't attach anything because it's going to, like, they're immediately...
so you're just filling this in, like, in the actual email that you're sending?
So I have a template for each release that we put out, and then I'll just kind of fill in the template and just, send it out. But you develop relationships, like, after a while, like... we have a friend named Wayne Blackwell from New Zealand who, like, hey, hi, pup.
Norman just came in.
Norman, what do you think
He
about
wants
this?
attention.
Yeah.
Let's give him attention.
Come on, talk to me too.
Do we have it would be so cute if we had like a doggy bone microphone.
We're gonna get him a GoPro
Oh, perfect.
chest
Emery has a
thing.
GoPro, so all we need to do is get like the vest.
While you
and then
podcast,
Norman
you can have a
his
little
own show.
screen up here, and then just like let's check in on Norman. Norman, our affiliate on the
We gotta
field.
figure out
Yeah, exactly.
how to have just like a Norman live stream nonstop all day, so that at any point in the day,
Like
you
the
could
Truman
just,
Show. Yeah.
The Norman Show.
Yeah, exactly.
Copywritten.
Genius. Yeah,
Can't take that.
Ideas taken.
That's good. Well, then, what about? Yeah, because I totally agree with you too. I mean, the blanket emailing is garbage.
Mhm.
That is just like, if you're doing that, I can guarantee you're fucking up.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that no one is reading those, and they can already tell that it's fake. Or not fake, but they can tell you wrote the same shit to 75 people.
Exactly. Yeah. The blind
So-
emails don't. I mean,
Yeah. Pick people that you like. Pick people that you really, really like their writing, or that you really, really like the content they're creating, like honestly. And then hit them up and tell them you really, really fucking like their shit. Way before you start talking about go review my shit or read my or go listen to my band. It's like, fuck you, man.
it's like
I'm
anything
busy.
else. It's like if you ask to borrow my car and you're just some guy I met on the street, I'm gonna be like, fuck no, like I'm not gonna let you use my
Yeah,
car.
who are
It's
you?
like, who are you? But if it's one of you guys, I've known you guys for a while, and you were like, hey, can I borrow your car? I need to go to an AM/PM. I gotta go pay a bill. Like, oh, here you go.
Mhm.
It's the same thing with getting content into, and I hate the word maven, like mavens, like the people that control, like the gatekeepers
Yeah.
and stuff. But like in actuality, like getting your content internationally, like putting it into different countries and syncing it up on radio and stuff, you have to like approach these people because that's how, not unfortunately, that's how it works. That's
Yeah.
how
I
the
mean,
industry works.
And it's how life works too. There's always gonna
Yeah.
be gatekeepers. Have you? Okay, so this is another interesting thing to think about. So obviously, there's like music writers and label system and some
up, Emery?
promoters and agents and things like that.
Come
But
on.
do you have you ever thought about other people that may be gatekeepers that
Mhm.
that bands are maybe not traditionally thinking are gatekeepers? Like especially now, like for us, like anyone on social media with like a bigger fan base than 50,000 people. It's
You
kind of
mentioned
like,
one earlier. YouTube content creators is huge. There's a Rohan. He's the guitarist for I Built the Sky. He's from Australia. He sent his music. It's really beautiful, like progressive instrumental metal kind of stuff, like metal but like pretty, all in a major key, like
Yeah.
gorgeous stuff. He sent his music to Vsauce 3, Michael Stevens Vsauce 1. And then they put it on the show, and they had a
Nice.
link on the bottom. There's a gatekeeper right there. You
Boom.
just
Yeah.
hit a whole demographic of people that would never
Yeah,
listen
and
to
that's a
music.
great example of him offering them something.
Yeah.
He's saying, "Hey,
You can use my music."
Yeah, you make videos all the time. Like, if you ever have a need for it, use my music for free. Like, don't even worry about it. I'm a huge fan of your show."
And the dude was able to tour the U.S. and all of
Yeah.
Australia last year just because of him
that's
able
fire.
to get his music into the right hands. And
Yeah.
I mean, he's an incredible fucking guitarist and musician. We had him at Cal Poly Pomona for a masterclass, and he was
Nice.
just like shredding in front of all the classical kids, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and think about the return on investment
Yeah.
of that. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
he paid nothing out of pocket. He offered something that he already had.
His
He was able
his
to help
content was
someone
good.
out.
His product was good.
Yeah, and then his product got in front of more people than traditional television does.
Yeah.
And that's a gatekeeper. There's so many different ways. Like, we'll go to a Mexican restaurant and be like, hey, put my CD in your jukebox.
Yeah.
That's even if it's just two people that are like, who the fuck is this band? That's
Yeah.
two people that are listening to your music now.
Exactly.
It's you play the small game, don't play the big game. Everyone,
Yeah, it's
and
about the long game.
it's
Yeah,
about the long
patience.
game.
Patience.
And trust me, I ain't got the long game. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, because you got to make up for another
I
place.
got it exactly.
Yeah. Oh man.
There's
Yeah,
that
'cause-
rock star prima donna mentality, and like it's kind of rampant throughout a lot of how music is put out nowadays. It's like, oh, I'm the shit. If you don't like
Feel
it,
like you owe me something.
you exactly.
Yeah.
The world doesn't know you fucking jack shit. You got to work for it. But like, play the short game. Play the. Get that one fan. Get that. Even if you're playing a show to 3 people, change their fucking mind, blow their
Yeah.
minds,
Yeah,
and change
exactly.
their lives. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you were in the service industry, like, how much did you take advantage of hustling your band?
Oh,
to every table you served.
we crowdfunded Summer Blood pretty much because I had 10 tables that would rotate. I'd probably see 300 people a night, and not everybody I'd go up to and be like, oh, check out my band. But it's like you develop rapport with your
Yeah,
regulars,
table, yeah.
and they're like, oh, what are you up to? And they get interested. People get vested in your
Yeah.
life. If you're an honest, genuine human being with people, they care, and it's the same thing with anything, like what's going on with your life. You're like, oh, I've been spending the last 2 years trying to record this album, and here it is. I'd like to give it to you. And then there you go. You made another connection, and you're building your business, you're building your brand, and like in the long term, it's like something that's invaluable. You can't pay for that. You know, that's like brand marketers and fucking huge like advertising agencies would kill to figure out how to do that.
Yeah,
like
that
on
true word of mouth, true like connection, like person to person. It's happening. I mean, that's again too what I love about the internet. It takes longer now. People that don't have patience for it are out of the game. But that same feeling and idea, blown up into the internet. It's like if you're consistent in your creation and you let a fan base get to know you, like how a regular gets to know you because they're regularly tuning in. Then, if it's time to make a record next year and you're like, damn, we could use $5 extra to like make this record 10 times as good as it could be. And you can ask that fan base for help because they know you and they feel like they know you. They want to help you,
And you haven't been trying to sell them stuff the entire time.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, and that's like another huge shortcoming of bands. I mean, sell your records at shows. It's important. It's just like a legitimacy thing. It feels good. Just people want to buy merch.
Be a human being first, though. Don't like when you first meet someone, be like, "Oh, I'm in a band. Here's my CD. Here's that."
And this is what I was like about to say is that like trying to make money from records before you have attention is just so stupid. Give your record to everybody. Give it away. Give it away to everybody. And again, like, so, if you're worried about SoundScan credits and shit, and you're like, well, it's not going to look like we sold a lot of records. Well, eventually, people will go to your back catalog because you get fucking huge because you gave away all your music for free, and you give value in other ways, because you can't give everything away for free. Then you have
it's
no
the
value,
Radiohead method. The most money they ever made on an album was in Rainbows, and they put it out for free, and they said, you guys can pay whatever you want. Mind you, they were a huge band already, but like they broke the model of what the traditional record industry was doing. It was like, this is the CD, you have to buy it, you have to pay it, or you can go pirate it. But Radiohead was like, we don't fucking care. We made this album for you guys. You guys pay whatever the fuck you want. And they made like 3 times as much off that album than their entire back catalog that they had.
Solid move.
Yeah. No, and I think that can be applied to a band that's tiny too. I mean, again, it's like intent from the beginning is different. Like when there is no attention, that should be your focus, not sales.
Yeah.
It should be attention. It should be like,
growth
does
over
anyone
profit.
does anyone know who we are? Well, until anyone knows who we are on some kind of substantial level, it should just be telling every fan, I'm going to give you the CD if you promise to give it to 5 more people.
You got to get people in the door to eat your food. No one's going to like, you can't open up a restaurant and not tell anyone about it. Like in the back alley.
Please do bootleg the CD and give it to all of your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're winning, So yeah, I mean, there's so many new things to do now. I'm so excited about the world, Is there any kind of content you really like making? Are you like a fan of doing like, the whole band out somewhere or like an acoustic thing, something? Or do you like these kind of things like where it's
I love this.
Your fans like getting to know you more?
This is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been really into like the business side of things like for the last like year or so, just because I had to take a back burner. Like the band wasn't playing as much. We wrote the album. We were finally able to record, but it was like.
And then you went back to school too, right?
I went back to school too. And then I just kind of focused on like learning all the little intricacies of like how the record label model of like the 50s, 60s, and 70s is basically given to you on the computer, and you can do it all yourself.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know how I could do what a record label did, what a publicist, manager, booking agent did, but do it all from your computer.
Totally. I mean, and now it's crazy because now we can just do it.
Do it on your phone. Yeah, there's
so
booking
crazy.
apps on your phone. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so wild. Do you have any tips with booking? Like, did you guys get out of town much with Castle Pines?
We developed a really good fan base in the Inland Empire, and then we played out quite a bit. We went on tour to Flagstaff.
Nice.
It was in looking back on it. I mean, we all worked full-time jobs, and and not to downplay. Like if I would have had the like not drive, because I think we all had drive, but if I would have had the like know-with-all of like what we were doing back then, I would have pushed a little bit harder as well. But yeah, we got out of we're from Corona. CP.
Yeah.
Showcase.
But that's where you grow your audience is at the live show. It's like making it something memorable, and like that was always our intent, was to be like, when we first came out, like indie music, what indie music was when I was growing up was like Modest Mouse, like kind of dirgy, gross, like Yola Tango, like it was independent. It didn't mean like indie music. You look it up on like Spotify now, it's all like kind of like electro-poppy.
Yeah.
Like they sound like, I mean, and nothing against it. I listen to a lot of that kind of music, but I was like a fan of like what indie music was back in like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So I was like, and then we also grew up at Showcase, and there was always a mosh pit there, and there was always people going fucking crazy. So I wanted to implement like indie music with like a hardcore mosh pit scene.
Yeah, nice. We're always trying to find a way
Well,
to
you guys
sneak hardcore
definitely
into our
pulled that
music.
off. I've never seen people go as crazy for a band as they do at a CP show.
Oh, dude, that goodbye show was out of control. I
was
thought you were
fun.
going to get killed. Oh my god. People were about to eat his face. Like they were like taking the mic from him and shit. It was incredible.
I had to tell a couple of my friends' moms, I was like, you guys gotta like stand back there, you're gonna hit. Some of the moms like when Jackie Previch went into the pit and like took video of it, and she got like hit and stuff. I was like, wow, you're a
She
champion.
just took it.
She took it, man.
Nice. Strong moms.
Yeah.
Yeah, moms don't fucking
Mom
around,
strength.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They had us. I mean, like
Yeah.
it was like the worst pain you can ever go through.
They're like bears.
I read a statistic that the equivalent of a man, for the same feeling of a woman giving birth to a baby, is the equivalent of a man passing a softball through his penis.
Oh yeah.
That sucks.
I hope I never get a kidney stone.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's the worst.
What do you do? What do you do to fight kidney stone development?
I don't know.
Does anyone watching know? You guys, we don't have a computer on us. Somebody Google it. Somebody
Cranberry
Google
juice? I don't know.
it. Yeah, like what do you need to do?
How
Let's
do you
all start
stop
doing
kidney
it.
stones?
Yeah, I mean I don't have any
You,
currently.
you stay away from dark sodas, right?
Well, good. I don't drink sodas.
I hate
so
soda.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
think
about
it's-
dark liquors?
I don't drink a lot of that either. But is beer? Does beer make kidney stones?
I bet it does.
Fuck.
I feel like beer's
We're gonna
better
have to-
for
we're
you
gonna
than
have to Google
soda
this
though,
one.
because it's got yeast.
Yeasty.
Yeah, yeasty boys.
Does beer?
Is there a beer company called the
make
Yeasty Boys? 'Cause there needs to be one.
have
You guys can have that one.
Yeah.
Here
We give that to you. We give it back.
Take
to
it
I
the
think
Right.
there's a Yeasty Boys bagel truck in Los Angeles.
Uh,
Yeah, shout out to Yeezy Boy or Yeezy Boys, Yeasty Boys.
Kanye West
Food truck.
Yeezy Boys bagel truck.
Yeah, exactly. Like Kanye West with a little yarmulke on. And he's just making sick bagels. Okay, here we go. Calcium oxalate stones are the most common types of kidney stones. The evidence indicates that consuming milk and milk product does not increase the risk of kidney stones. I wasn't asking about milk, so I don't know what the fuck's going on here, but
Well,
that's
that
very
explains
clearly about beer. Whoa, no, never mind. Okay, it auto-corrected like a stupid dick.
Yeah, speaking of milk, so we're always on like the Craigslist hustle, especially the free section. We're like gonna build out our ranch here, just like free shit from Craigslist.
That's the way to do it.
Someone is selling free breast milk. Not selling, giving away
Giving
free
away free-
breast milk on Craigslist right now.
How much breast milk did you pump? Like, is the baby not like? That's fascinating.
Yeah, and you're gonna give your baby some other
Bad news bears?
random lady's breast milk.
It's supposedly really
Or-
good for you. Like, it's got like
Human growth hormone.
Well, you should
Yeah.
just
HGH.
pick it up. It's still there. It's been up for a couple of weeks.
It's probably
I hope
super
it's
fresh.
refrigerated. Well, it's breast yogurt now. We left it out.
Oh my god, they made cheese out of it.
Oh my.
Like a fresh farmer's
delicious.
cheese
Fresh
with
farmer-
sage.
That's like that scene from Borat. He's like, my wife will make this. She make it from milk from her tit.
Oh my god. So drinking alcohol can lead to being dehydrated globally, which can creates a diuretic in the system, which can concentrate urine, which can lead to the formation of crystals. So it's all about the dehydration.
Yeah.
Drink water.
Drink lots of water.
For
Yeah,
every
so-
How much
beer you
water
have-
should you drink per day?
Well, they say like a training athlete should have double or basically like the amount of ounces, 1 ounce per pound of body weight. I think the normal person should have a half ounce.
I don't know how to do math very well, so.
Well, if you weigh 165 pounds, you should drink 165 ounces of water a day.
Oh, an ounce per pound.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so 165 ounces is like 2 gallons, 2.5 gallons.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah, but that's for like a training athlete, you know? So
So like 1 gallon a day.
What about a non-training athlete?
I think like 1 gallon, like a gallon, even a gallon a day is hard to drink.
That's a
you know?
lot.
I've been trying to go
gonna
for the
pee a lot.
gallon a day.
You pee a lot at first, but then your body starts to crave a little bit more salt.
Yeah, it like wakes up. It's like, whoa, I'm healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
on.
So you'll pee a lot for the first week, and you'll be like, "This is fucking annoying." But then if you can stick it out, then your body adjusts.
No pun
We should
intended.
set that goal.
Exactly.
Gallon
a day.
I'll do it. I'll do a
Gallon a
gallon
day
Oh,
keeps the
a
doctor
day. I thought it was a
away.
week.
Gallon a day. Oh my god. I just take a couple sips of water a day. That's all I need.
It's like,
Oh god.
There's
I feel fucked this weekend. It was my birthday, so
oh,
we just
dude, you got to
we
party it
drank
up.
a lot.
Yeah.
And then and so I just have not been drinking.
Happy
water.
birthday, by the way, man.
I made it another year.
You did it.
Yeah, it was solid.
Yeah,
One
this
more
is-
time around the sun.
It's his
Yeah.
Jesus year.
It's your,
Yeah.
oh, you're 31.
33.
33 twin Glocks,
Go.
16 shots
My
of
mom's
peace.
gonna be like, no, Jesus was 33.
Oh my god.
Leo.
You know this. You go to Bible school. That's actually my grandma. My mom speaks like a normal American Southern woman,
Woman.
even though she's Southern American. That's what I meant when I meant
Nice.
Southern.
She's not an American Southerner.
No,
She's a Southern American.
Southern, which is technically, I mean, an American Southern. It's still
She's
American.
Argentinian.
Argentinian.
Nice. What's like the jam when it comes to food from Argentina?
Barbecue, man. We call it
BB.
barrichada. We put chimichurri on it, which is basically crushed up
Mm.
parsley, garlic, olive oil, vinegar,
Yeah.
and yeah, man. They eat
Chimichurri.
I will I'll make it for you guys one day. I'll come
Mhm.
down here. We'll
Mouth-
barbecue. You guys have a
mouthwatering.
grill. You guys have open
Yeah.
Oh
fire.
yeah. Oh yeah. We'll fucking put a blowtorch on it.
Argentinians, I think per capita, eat 3 times more meat than anyone else in the world.
That's why they're great.
That's why they all.
There's
die
so
of
many
heart
people right
disease.
now that are doing these like all meat diets.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
The paleo or the all what's like all meat?
It's keto diet.
Yeah, I mean that's like no carbs, meat, you could still do like cheeses.
These
and
people probably
oils
just
and
don't
stuff.
poop. They probably just
Yeah.
like don't have nice poops.
Or you would make it even more badass is if they had to hunt. Like part of the diet was like you have to kill your own food. You have to hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
that would be
boar
much
or
better.
whatever, you know.
Get over it, like
Yeah.
kill something.
They say that I've never done it. I've always wanted. I fish a lot. I love fishing, but they say if you really like meat and you enjoy it, go out and kill
Yeah.
whatever you're gonna eat, and then reassess whether or not
You want to keep eating it?
you want to keep eating
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I'm down.
I,
But
I love
also,
hunting.
if you did that, you'd also save yourself a lot of fucking money.
hell yeah, man.
If you went out and just hunted a wild boar like that was decent and not all weird and diseased, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like that would feed your family for like 6 months.
300 pounds of pork.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like
That's the
you had a
jam.
deep freezer. Not even that. You can just salt it like fucking, like they used
exactly.
to back in the day.
Make
Yeah.
satin chichas.
Ay, papi.
Exactly.
Chorizos.
I love pigs. Pigs are great. I worked in an Italian restaurant for a
Mm.
long time, and they were great. We used to butcher whole pigs
Oh, yeah.
in-house, and so there's a lot of leftover stuff. So we would make like trotter, which is pig feet that
Yeah.
have been boiled in the collagen from the nails, so it can make it super
Stew,
nice
like-
stuff. And then we
yeah.
would make it into like put it in a deli and let it cure overnight, and then they would slice it almost like a
And
deli
put it on
meat.
bread. And
Yeah, and it
stuff.
just if you put it on hot enough bread, it just melts.
Oh.
And then they would make
Lardo.
yeah, lardo's great too, man. Salt cured fat.
Yeah.
It's great. And then they have another one too where they basically just peel the face off the skull.
And then wear it.
Yeah. Then they roll it. They
Oh.
roll it on itself. So there's a little everything in all the bites. Like there's a
Mm.
little bit of cheek and there's like all the oyster behind the eye and like all this stuff that's great in the face. Mmm.
That's one thing that like people. If you go to any Mexican restaurant in Southern California, that's my favorite thing about it. They use every single part of whatever the chicken, the cow, pig, and it's delicious.
Yeah.
And there's like kind of a standoffishness to it. I think it's opening up more with like the foodie culture.
Yeah.
But like pork brains or like lengua, like
Yeah.
beef tongue, it's
Yeah.
delicious. It's
Yeah,
so good.
It was
Yeah.
great, man. At Burning Man this year, our friend John Ganese cooks 2 whole animals out on the playa. Like,
Nice.
Yeah, so
And-
after the man burns, he'll
Take some of the wood and cook with it.
he just
Basically
cooks on the
just lay it on the
ashes, and
ashes. Fuck yeah, that's so-
it takes all night.
It's savage.
Yeah,
dude.
but
That's
I
rad.
came out of a crazy drug haze with my friend Karis, and we were looking for it all night. We couldn't find it, and then right when we're like, the sun's coming up, we're like, whoa. We look up, and we're like, no way, we found it.
There it
you know?
is.
Yeah.
So we walked up, and our buddy John's
right where we
like,
left it.
yeah, perfect timing, and he starts like cutting off portions of the line off the back and stuff,
Oh.
and then part of the thing was that if you wanted to eat some of the good stuff, then you had to also have some of the extra bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had I think I had a prostate
Mm.
gland.
Yeah.
and it was just super salty.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, I mean, I wouldn't pick it
Right by the
over-
bowls.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
pick it any.
I, for the
over
record,
anything.
have missed this 3 years in a row because by the last night when the man burns, I'm just wrecked and I sleep all through the night. I wake up, it's all gone.
All the food's gone.
Yeah.
The only thing left is a little bit of prostate.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, it was good.
I'd eat
We'll
it.
see.
Yeah,
Year 4 is the year that I eat.
I had a
down
yak
to roast a
penis in China when I lived there, and it was
yak
Yak.
penis.
yak penis.
Nice.
Yaks are huge, man. They're fucking scary.
Is
Yak
is a yak?
penis? It sounds like something a girl says when you're like
Yeah.
taking her out. Yak penis. Sorry.
Is a yak like a cow or something? Like what's a yak?
It's like it's like a cow. I think
Like a
like
horse
water
cow?
buffalo, horse
Water buffalo?
cow. It's got the long
Okay, yeah.
Oh, the under?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a water buffalo.
yeah, they go like this,
Yeah.
and then it kind of has like a little part in the hair.
That's
Super
like, yeah,
cute.
made of bone.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things are fucking nuts. So yeah, I imagine that the meat would be very lean. Right? Like,
yeah.
very like just gamey, like fucking no fat. Just
Well, I ate its wiener, so
that was fat.
it was just. Is that fat?
That was super fat.
It just.
Well, it's you know, I think actually the dong is quite a lot of just muscle and vein. I
Yeah,
think that's what the dong is. The scientific term, you know, dong.
the dong. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they say in the hospitals too.
Yeah, exactly. So your dong.
We were able to save your dong.
Don't worry, sir. We were able to save your son's dong.
Yeah.
He still will be a man. Is there any part? Where are we? What are we doing with time right now?
We're over an hour.
Oh, tight.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then let's end it here. Actually, no, we shouldn't end it there because that would be negative.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to say to anybody listening that may be stuck on the fence of making a big decision in their life, making the big decision, making you know, like a moment that is going to define and, you know, change the tone of their life,
The trajectory of their path.
They're right on the fence with it. Like, is there anything you would say to someone like
As
that?
cheesy as it sounds, you gotta follow yourself. Don't let exterior forces or other voices or anyone else.
Yeah, don't listen to the haters.
Don't listen to the haters.
Yeah.
Save that haterade.
Yeah, the more
Even if
haters
it's your
you
mom or
get-
dad.
Exactly. Don't. I mean,
Listen.
God bless them. They brought
Yeah.
you into this world, but they
They
didn't.
grew up in a different world, and it's your life, and it's not theirs.
Exactly. They didn't
Totally.
choose. They may have made you, but they didn't choose what you were. You were put here for a purpose.
Totally.
You're put here for a mission.
Yeah.
And you got to follow that. And regardless, if it's worth a damn, it's gonna fucking suck to get there.
Totally.
If you're not struggling, then you're probably if you're not struggling, then you're probably not doing it. You're probably not doing what you should be doing.
Yeah.
If it's hard and if it fucking sucks, then you're on the right track.
Yeah,
I read
yeah.
this great quote this week that said, "Your purpose in life is to find what you're put here to do, and to totally just give it away. So like, find what your dream is, and like what your one true purpose, your
And then
one
give it
true
back.
will, yeah, and then give that gift to the world."
There's a Charles Bukowski quote. He says in life, find what you love and then let it kill you.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, I think that's an appropriate place to kill the podcast for tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna go kill myself with some music.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but don't really die.
I
Don't
won't.
really die. Yeah,
really
it's
die.
No,
figuratively.
Yeah.
not
All right.
literally.
To all you listeners out there, man, kill it. Just know that whatever you want, it's only a decision away. And just
Yeah, that's
know
the great
that
thing about being a human.
yeah, sometimes you just gotta
decide
make that
to change
decision.
everything.
Yeah. Be real with yourself, you know? Be real, accept criticism, and fucking change your life. Change it right now.
Positive, pragmatic nihilism. Life is shit. Deal with it.
Nice. Make the
Nice.
best of it, you know? All right, love you guys.
Love you guys.